options in terms of not just travel time and travel cost, but also give a complete package of the trip, including payment, real-time data, integrated data, etc. So while in the present situation you may have different mobility providers with different systems through which people pay for it. A metro will have different system for people to pay, or taxi will have, or micro mobility modes will have different. A mass platform would actually integrate all of them and bring them all together through a seamless experience. So I think this is where we need to move forward in terms of how public transport can leverage on technology and use it for improving the ridership and attraction towards using public transport. There are some examples of such mass platforms already in place in some cities. I'm not going to details of this. We still don't have any such platform in India. I think some corporations can really come forward and take the lead in this direction. With that, I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Burma, for your wise words. Now I invite Ms. Christy Cherian from GIZ India to quickly on her thoughts. So I invite Mr. Jatish Chandra Gopinathan from Kochi CPAD Limited to join us.
Respected dignitaries and all the speakers here, a very warm thanks to everybody for inviting me as a speaker. Before I go into, everybody will be thinking, what is GIZ? GIZ is German Development Corporation. We are working on various mobility initiatives as of now in 3 states in India and also with the national government on different initiatives of mobility improvement through innovative and digital solutions, as well as very promoting the use of non-motorized transport and public transport. So I don't need to go into the details. Professor Verma has already detailed out what is the need of public transport, what should be the digitalization approach, what should be our future. So I'll just like to pinpoint, I don't have a presentation, I'll just explain few statistics, particularly to Kochi and in the use of metro systems in Delhi, like how can we look forward and what is the need of public transport and what are the possible innovations or probably simple innovations that we can approach or try right away. The first thing I would like to say, when in 2015, when we prepared comprehensive mobility plan, Kochi city has about 21 lakh trips per day. Out of that 21 lakhs trips per day, almost 49% at that time was by public transport. At that time we didn't have a metro. So that means about close to, I would say, 11 lakh trips were carried out by buses itself per day on that time. And considering that metro has come up and there is 1 lakh trips in metro, we still have a significant number of trips which are catered by buses and auto rickshaws and other modes of public transport systems which are operating. That is a very huge number. So we cannot neglect and plan for a new or public transport systems without considering the major mode, which is the buses. Obviously metro is playing a bigger role in one of the corridors, but we need to cater for the other solutions as well. The other important point is, I agree there are technological innovations which are happening in terms of modes and vehicles which are coming up, like electric vehicles are coming up, autonomous vehicles are coming up. But the point to consider is that the amount of road space these vehicles take compared to a diesel engine vehicle is almost same. So the more and more electric or autonomous vehicle that you add onto the road, what will be the future? You are not going to reduce the number of the space that the vehicles are going to take. So the congestion is not going to be removed. It's always the solution therefore lies in the public transport system or the NMT solution. So coming to the public transport, then the buses are the major mode of transport. Now focusing on the buses or the metro systems, as Professor Verma already explained, your trip starts from the origin, like from where you start, from the home, and from where you are ending the trip. For example, for me it would be the office. So the moment I step out of my house to the moment I step inside my office, is it integrated? What is my what is my experience of using? For example, if I use a public transport system, I may have to walk to the bus stop or metro station and then take a metro or bus and then probably change to other mode. And if it is a bus, probably 2 or 3 routes I have to change and then reach the office. But as a passenger, am I experiencing a single journey experience? Like I have cut different sets of journeys and then I am moving forward. So as an organization, as a public transport organization, everybody should, my urge is that we should strive towards providing single journey experience to users. When we did a survey in Delhi Metro, we have found out that 37% of the total journey cost is actually out of the metro. So that means only 60% of the cost is by metro and this 37% is taken by other vehicles or other modes. And almost 64% of the Delhi Metro users either access or egress using walk. That means we should have a conducive walking environment beyond the metro and the bus stations, and also a cost which is comparable and which is more integrated to those systems. So how can we provide that is also a question. That comes to the integration perspectives. There are 7 different sets of integration. I'll start with few of them. So we should have a policy integration, like what is the overall approach of the government, what is our policy approach. In terms of policy, we as of now see different organizations providing the same services. So that's institutional integration. In terms of policy, like we say we strive to have a public transport mode share of 80% or 90%, but as a policy, are we integrating? Are we trying to increase the number? The second, in terms of institutional integration, and Kochi is one of the cities which has empowered a Kochi Metropolitan Transport Authority through an act. But where are we reaching through an institutional integration? That's again a question. In terms of operational integration, like are our timetables integrated? We need to integrate the timetables of the buses, metro, railways. How are we planning to integrate our services for the future? And then last but not the least, in terms of physical integration, that how are we trying to bring in, integrate the metro stations, like when we say, for example, in Bangalore, when we did a survey, there is about more than 200 kilometers walk is there from the Bangalore Metro Majestic Station to the BMTC Majestic bus stand. That means a passenger has to get out and then get into the bus. Like he has to walk for 200 kilometers. Similarly, in Kallur, Kochi also, you need to get out of the metro station, then go to the Kallur bus station. So how are we physically integrating? So that is how we need to bring it. So these are the 4 key aspects of integration that I will bring. But I will also, and also the fare integration, which obviously Mr. Bayer has already talked about. Now, coming to the future, I can put forward few examples of innovations in the integration sector, which has happened in Kerala itself by KSRTC. If you travel along different routes of KSRTC, you are able to take single ticket and travel. And it was not actually something which has done in terms of digital technology. Using simple ETM machines, they have attempted to do such small changes. So we can actually identify innovative solutions within small organizations which are not very cost intensive but can bring about the changes. So I would like to conclude by saying that we can always look for the solutions within ourselves, adopt innovations in the solutions considering passengers in mind, what would our passengers need, and then plan for the future ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Christie, for your valuable words. Now I invite Mr. Ritesh Thomas, DGM BMRCL, to offer his key takeaways.
The distinguished guests and all the lovers of the new generation transport. So I am very thankful for inviting me for this summit. From Bangalore Metro, I would like to share our experiences
in this area. So hopefully in the study which RSET is going to do, it will help. Some of the points might be relevant, but always we have very experienced people in KMRL. So already many of the points which I will be talking is already known and aware to them. But still, as a the scenarios at Bangalore and Cochin is entirely different. We can do a little bit of customizations to the points and how it can suit our city and enhance the lives of people. So first of all, the agenda which was given to me was the innovations which we have been doing in Bangalore Metro. So we have been able to collect non-fare box revenue to the tune of 30.03 crore as license fee. This is one area which KMRL also would like to look into that. So something is coming from retail outlets, then ATMs which we are providing spaces for the banks to operate in our metro station premises, then from advertisement, then parking lots. Advertisements, when we say it is inside the train as well as inside the perimeters of the stations also. And the piers and portals advertisements have been stopped because of the ruling from the Honorable High Court of Karnataka. Then other innovations what we are trying to do is electric vehicles charging stations. The state of the art charging stations are being planned for the upcoming phase 2, phase 2A, 2B projects. The 2A, 2B projects are basically connecting the airport line. The electric charging stations for 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers have been planned and 7 MOUs have been signed. The BMRCL Training Institute is one of the key area which is helping us. We have been training our own employees in many aspects. These are some of the trainings which we conduct. We also have trained employees from many other metro corporations, including Kochi Metro. This year we have conducted 19 people training for telecom training from the MMOCL, and we have kept our innovations with the relationship with the people is to the name of the company, like Nama Metro. It is our metro. We have kept it at an affordable fare structure. The minimum is 10 and the maximum is 60. And we have also introduced unlimited passes, day pass for rupees 200 for 3-day pass. These are helping the tourists or the people who would like to go in and around the city. And on all those card, 50 rupees is refundable. So there is a 50 rupees amount which has been kept as a deposit which is being refunded. And ticketing part, National Common Mobility Card, we are ready with that. It's only even our AFC gates, everything is ready. Only we are yet to launch it. It's a decision which has to be taken at a higher level. We are ready with mobile QR tickets. We have released our Nama Metro app. We are also tied up with Yatra and Paytm for this QR ready tickets. As a service, we are very friendly and connected with the people. So we give fast and pollution-free transportation with a very good ambience. The highlight of our service is we are punctual in our service. We have the culture is such we haven't observed much delay in our services, and we have always provided to the need of the people extended hours of service in night, like whenever there is a social gathering like a cricket match is happening, they are providing extended night services. Then cashless transactions for ticketing, we are providing POS, QR code based recharging, online recharging. Then emergency calling feature inside trains and lifts have been provided for the safety purpose. Metro train timings available at Google platform. This we have provided, like people can find out from the Google platform which is the nearest shortest way how we can travel depending upon the congestion on the roads. This Google platform integration is helping us. Seamless metro connectivity at interchange stations. So we would like the people to have a good experience in their travel. So wherever interchange station, like in Bayapanhalli right now, we are having the northwest and the east-west, northeast, north-south and the east-west connected. So we are planning our train timings on the each lines to have a seamless integration for the passengers to change over from that particular station. Then additional trains are being provided for cricket matches, social rallies, flower shows. You know, Lal Bagh is having a yearly flower show program, so we are using that. So much international tourists are coming for that show. Then New Year Eve, because people would be out in the public places, we are providing this. Then we are very friendly with the differently abled people. Wheelchair service is available. Ramp access to the lifts at all entry and exit points have been ensured. Then lifts are having the braille key buttons. Tactile path for visually challenged. Sign language training for our employees is one of the key areas which we are trying to improve. We have regular customer care experience training for our people who are in direct contact with the passengers. Then some of the green initiatives which we are doing in Bangalore is, you know, the implementation of a project. We are connecting the in and outskirts of the Bangalore. So a lot of trees have to be removed for a project and all. So we are doing trees transplantation. Almost 850 transplantations have happened, and almost 60,000 new plantations have been done. So this is very much important from the environment perspective, because after all these facilities are for the good health of our people. If it is damaging our environment, so we have to cater for that also. So some of the innovations in the information technology which is happening of late is we have our own software development team. That is very good highlight for us. We have almost 28 plus applications running. We have implemented these accounts codifications this year. Asset management is one key area which we have achieved. We have the public grievance system which we are in direct connect with the people, where we take the feedback of the people and we try and address whatever is possible. We even communicate to them personally if it is required by a telephonic call or on an email basis, whatever it is. MIS reporting, which helps the management to see and plan the things. Digital documents, because there are lots of project work which is happening all around Bangalore under different reaches. We have in the software development, we have catered for uploading of those photographs or documents and all those things. Then the attendance management system also is one key area which we have improved, because we have a lot of vendors and the people, our own staff who are deployed in the field. So we have this mobile apps which can get the geolocation of the people, so that we are sure about the presence of the people are there while important casting or a pier concreting is happening. So these facts are helping us in this. These are very few I have been putting up across because the paucity of time. We have also introduced the snag monitoring system for a better experience. Then the property development accounting is one area. which we have been focusing on. It has been separately monitored. The hardware part, we have introduced the hypercloud infrastructure. It is an on-premise data center, and these are going to host our in-house applications. The migrations, already the implementations are happening, and the migrations will happen in another 1 or 2 months. They are very scalable, and disaster recovery, automated backups, and this is a Making in India initiative. IT operations automation platform is part of it. Log monitoring and management is there. IT services management is there. And also for the development team, we have introduced the DevOps CI/CD suite. Then also the security also we are taking care of it in this. The information security framework is being prepared, and it's already there, the policies are there, but there was a lack of framework implementation that we are taking care right now. The IS policies would be implemented and will be monitored how it is being utilized by all our people. Data classification is one important aspect. Risk management framework, to what extent, because we have been running legacy systems. Apart from that, we will be having a new technologies, digital systems also coming across for our new phases. And identity and access management. And also we are planning for a security operations center. It will be very key for the futuristic way of Bangalore as a city. There will be a lot of threats which will be coming across as the city grows. So we are taking ready for that also. Then from the system side, rolling stock, we have been able to save 38% of energy from regenerative braking, and also some little design changes in the lightweight design of we have put it for a 15-ton axle load. Then automated vent mode in HVAC have been introduced in this new systems which we are, new rakes which we are going to take. And it has improving the performance in the range of 2.5 and above in coefficient. Improved design of high-speed circuit breakers have been done, improved braking characteristics, increased regenerative energy. In the traction system, inverter-based traction substations have been planned. So, to capture the regenerated energy, in phase 2, 2A, 2B, we are expecting a 15.71 crore per annum saving is anticipated. And apart from that, renewable energies, we are having solar powered panels over our stations as in depots. We are also expecting, we have changed our LED based lightings, we are expecting some 14.81 crore per annum. Then the new stations are being designed for natural daylight saving. So we would reduce the number of lights and all those aspects in that level. Then we are also using timer controlled lights on the roads, and as well as high mast lights wherever public places we are being using. Then air conditioning, new air conditioning systems we are using, and it is helping us with around 40% of energy saving. Temperature control, new ASS TSS would be having variable frequency drives are used in ECS and TVS, which will be helping us to the tune of 2.58 crore per annum. Building management systems are monitoring our solutions, whatever we are running, so that energy efficient pumps have been introduced, and automated control systems are there. Suitable enthalpy sensors are there which will be having monitoring humidity and temperature. And high efficient auxiliary substations, transformers have been planned in the new phases. Indoor transformers which are naturally cooled, which will help reduce electricity for cooling or other water cooled methods. We are saving in water also in that level. Then pulse parallel type rectifiers are some of the things which we have used. Then aluminum composite third rail is helping us. And some of the areas which we are utilizing is city beautification space. We have some art galleries called Rangoli Metro Center and all, where people are utilizing it, and it is showing the culture and architecture of Karnataka. It is attracting tourists. Then integrated transport, I will cut short because many of the people have already covered it. We are connecting with the railways and feeder buses with the BMTC, and we also have MOU signed with ex-servicemen. Pilot project station 5 stations already started with electric vehicles already started running by those people. It is also taking care of the safety and security of women and children, and even they are operating in the night. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Sri Raman Goyal, AGM Operation, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. I invite Ms. Christy Cherian Ann, GIS India, to receive your memento. Once again, I call upon Sri Raman Goyal onto the dais.
Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Raman Goyal, AGM Operation. First of all, I will thank to MD Kochi Metro. After discussion with MD Delhi Metro, I am being invited here along with my colleague Mr. Sudhir Mittal, who is AGM Telecom. All metros, I want to say that all metros are having more or less same features. Like my friend from the Bangalore Metro, he has been said about the regenerative braking, about the innovations done by the Bangalore Metro, and no doubt in the Kochi Metro. So Delhi Metro is also doing all the same activities in Delhi. Since 2002, we are operating the Delhi Metro services, and we are the one of the oldest metro in India after the Calcutta. No doubt the youngest metro, one of them is Kochi and others. They are having the new technology as compared to the Delhi Metro, because we are already running the since 2002. Day by day we have upgrading the our conventional lines to the UTO lines, and day by day we are also going to the new technology. We are also implemented in the phase 4 upcoming project. So around 60 kilometers has already been sanctioned by the government, and other we are waiting for the approval around 70 kilometers. And further, I want to say that regarding the passenger journeys, we are taking about around 65 lakhs journeys in Delhi per day during the weekdays. We are running around 4,500 trips per day in Delhi pre-COVID, and now after the COVID, it has given so much impact on the Delhi Metro as well as on the other Indian metros, and we are gaining only about 2/3 of the traffic right now. Presently, we are carrying around 40 to 42 lakhs journeys in Delhi as on date, and we are gaining around 8.2 crores. We are having earning crores per day. Apart from the earlier, it is around more than 10 crores. So around 2/3 of the traffic has been gained so far yet. And at last, I want to thank the organizer, the host partners, and the knowledge partner and the other partners for organizing such the Generation Next Transport and Technology Summit 2032. Thank you so much.
Now, I humbly call upon Jatish Chandra Gopinath, DGM of Cochin Shipyard, to take over the dais.
Thank you. Distinguished speakers and dignitaries, a warm good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of CSL, first of all, I would like to convey our sincere apology that our GM, Mr. Shivakumar, he could not attend because he is currently out of station. And from CSL side, we express our sincere gratitude to invite us for this seminar. And as we heard from the previous speakers, most of them were talking about the issues and the technologies we face in road transport and rail transport. So I would like to give few lines of which may be a takeaway to you for from today about what all technologies are being developed in marine sector. International Maritime Organization, IMO, they have set a very challenging target, that is by 2050 we have to reduce the greenhouse emissions by 50% compared to the 2008 standard. So as we speak, there are a lot of technologies being tried out to meet these challenges. That includes battery is one of the option, and solar technology is there, and other alternate fuels like ammonia, methanol, then hydrogen fuel. All these are being tried out, but as of now there is no single solution there to meet this huge challenge in front of us. And you know, marine transportation is the main mode of transportation, and it covers around 80% of the, contribute to the 80% of the world transportation going around. And considering this, it is very important for us to, from the marine sector, it is very important to reduce the emissions produced from the marine vessels. So from Cochin Shipyard side, I would like to say few things, few initiatives which we have done in this side. One of these, as you have heard from our metro MD is there, and water metro, Kochi water metro, that is a, we were part of that, and that's a 23, that's considered to be the largest fleet of battery powered vessels that is going to be operated in the world. And this is the one which we have delivered, 4 numbers which we have delivered, that is about 120 kilowatt hour battery that will be charged in 1 hour. You can operate in 15 minutes, you can operate for 1 hour, and it has got additional backup of generator also. So this is one step which Kochi Metro has come forward, and that is happy to say that Cochin Shipyard also was part of that. Another project which we have done is for ASCO Maritime Norway, which we have delivered 2 battery operated vessels that has recently just 2 days back started operation in Norway. So that is running between 2 fjords of Norway, which also take away a lot of trucks from the road. So taking away these trucks also in a way reduce huge amount of CO2 emissions, and that way it will help the reduction of emissions. And we are also working on so many pilot projects which will reduce the greenhouse gas emission. One of such project is we are doing a pilot project with the Ministry of Shipping, that is for development of a fuel cell boat. Also just 2 days back we got we won a project with the US funded project, that is to develop 3 grid designs for the inland waterways of India. So these designs will be developed, and it will be adopted in National Waterways 1 and 2. So these are some of the technologies being developed in Cochin Shipyard. And also other than that, There are works going on in and around the world, in India also. We are also working on a proposal for development of ammonia fueled ships. As you know, battery and solar may not resolve the full emission problem, because that can only resolve the short duration, short endurance vessels. For long endurance vessels, we need to have other technologies, alternate fuel like ammonia or methanol. These kind of technologies are still being developed, so there is no other way other than having ammonia or methanol technologies. Engines are being developed. Methanol, there is already engines developed, but the kind of kilowatts which we are talking for the huge bulk carriers or containers, that is yet to be developed. So just to, because the time is short, I'll just cut down. And what I would like to say is, since we in every decade it is said that around 0.2 degrees Celsius of increase in temperature is happening globally. So this is because of the greenhouse gas emissions from various fossil fuels. So we may not be facing this immediately, but our future generations will face the issues related to this. So we all are responsible to take care of this right now, and if we don't act on it right now, but I don't know how much serious we are taking into this, but this is a serious situation which we are facing and our generation is going to face. So in order to do that, I think I would just like to say, we don't have a solution in front of us, but everybody is trying for that. But every 1 kilowatt saved is equivalent to 1 kilowatt production also, and also we save that much of pollution. So that I think at least we should do that. With that note, I would like to end my session here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we're proceeding with a felicitation, which is handing over the mementos to our honorable dignitaries. I request Loknath sir to kindly come on stage to hand over the mementos to our dignitaries. Firstly, I would like to call Professor Ashish Verma, TSE and Convener, IST Lab, IISc, Bengaluru. Next, Sri Raman Goyal, AGM Operation, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Next, we have Sri Ratish Thomas, DGM, BMRCL. And now, Mr. Jatish Chandra Gopinath. Thank you very much, sir. Kindly take your seat. Now, we're moving ahead with the panel discussion on the topic Convergence of Transport, Energy and Technology in the context of Gati Shakti Plan and Multimodal Logistics Solution. For this panel discussion, our moderator is Father Jason Paul Mullerikil CMI, Vice Principal of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, and who is also the program mentor. The panelists for the panel discussion are as follows. I would like to continue by stating the panelists for this panel discussion. First, we have Professor Ashish Verma. Next, Shri Vipin R. Menath, Traffic Manager, Cochin Port Authority. Our next panelist, Shri Devrishi, EVIFY, EV startup. And next, Mr. Gokur, Senior DGM Urban Transportation of KMRL.
Hello everybody. So welcome to this panel discussion. We will try to keep it very short because we are want of time. We all know that. So first of all, very welcome to all the panelists. So I will start with an opening statement because as we all know, as a developing economy or developing country, India has leapfrogged in technology. For example, just take the example of telephone. We never saturated with the land phones, but we leapfrogged to mobile phones. Again, in a finance sector, I think we never saturated with the credit cards. Still it is happening, but before that, we are saturating with I think QR code like Google Pay things. So that kind of leapfrogging is happening because we are a developing economy, and I think the same thing should happen or may happen in mobility as well. That is my feeling as I was listening to today's sessions, because the vehicles fueled by the fossil fuels, the cars, that is I think happening, but at the same time we never will saturate with the fossil fuel vehicles. We cannot, because as the discussion we listened today, if that happens, that will be a tragedy, because our environment cannot handle it, earth cannot handle it. So we may have to move to electrical vehicles. That's what I thought. But even EV is not an answer, because as we have already listened, that may cost again for the earth, because we are again using fossil fuels. So what is going to happen? I think we need a double leapfrog in the mobility sector. So we need to have maybe renewable energy, but that too in the public transport, sector. So that's how we need to move towards renewable energy, and also in the public transport mode. I don't know how that is going to happen, but that could be the future, and that should be the future for India, or for the world, for the earth, I can see. So with this opening statement, this is the context. I would like to invite our partner from KPMG, because they are the advisories. Sri Prasad Undikrishnan, is he here? He is not here. Okay then, so I will give it to Professor Vipin. Yeah.
A very good afternoon too. We're running very close to the lunchtime, a very odd time for the speech, and particularly coming from the seaport, quite unglamorous as compared to any other mode of transport. But then you should know that 95% of world's trade by volume and 70% by value, it all takes place on a platform called the port. So I will quickly take you through, run through what are the technological innovations and interventions that are happening in the marine sector, the shipping sector, and the port sector, and how we as a port have been influenced by the technology. The PM's Gati Shakti initiative, and on September 29th, he announced the National Logistic Policy, is the convergence of the decision to integrate the various ministries and their systems into one single platform, the National Logistics Platform. It converges to 7 ministries, and there are 30 existing systems like the ice gate of the customs or the port operating systems. So the objective is to bring about logistic efficiency in terms of services that is being provided by bringing transparency, cost effectiveness, and enhancing the performance. With this, when you compare the systems that we have, while you are exporting a commodity, you have to go through 38 ministries, more than 500 forms, 40 government participating agencies. So the process is very large and cumbersome. So that's where technological innovations like blockchain, big data, that's all being used in the port sector. National Logistic Platform, NLP Marine, is one such platform which will integrate all the systems of the various government agencies, wherein the exporter files one document and it ends at the passes through all the agencies, so that there is minimum of documentation that is required, and the speed with which the cargo can be exported, or for an importer to track his cargo, that is being facilitated. Way back in 2018, we have upgraded our port community system, which will now be called as National Logistic Portal for Marine Services. The entire logistic platform, which includes over 200 shipping lines and various service providers, they are all being integrated together. They are being brought under the single platform of National Logistic Platform. It will be easy for any exporter to log on to this system. Already non-disclosure agreements have been signed by many of the technological service providers, banks and financial institutions. So it makes a transparent, robust system wherein the commerce can take place. So as a service provider, though we are very static, we don't move, but then we provide a platform which is up with the technological developments. In terms of robotics and sensor technology, our cranes, equipments and machineries, we are making applications there, so that the downtime of machinery, the requirement of their maintenance, that's all known online. So we are making applications of these systems. Then augmented reality, I mean, these are all things which we just realize that, okay, fine, these are the things which are the jargons, but then this is something which is already in place. Hamburg Port, for example, has entirely automated container terminal with the manual interface only at the gantry cranes when you're unloading the containers from the ship. Thereafter, the entire operation is done through automated guided vehicles and other machinery equipments with absolutely no human interface on ground. Similarly, Port of Rotterdam has put in place Port 360, so that the training, the simulator training for the pilots, for the workers, for the visitors who are not aware about how the system works, that is being provided. From predictive, reactive responses, we have now become more proactive by trying to provide predictive analytics, wherein we will plan, okay, which are all the ships are going to come in next few days, and that will help us to sequence the berthing of the vessels. So these are the changes that are taking place in the port sector. Many more is to come. We cannot be bereft of the changes that are taking place in the technological systems. Here at Cochin Port, we were the first port in India to adopt the ERP solutions. Enterprise business system, which has now been adopted by the Indian Ports Association. We already have the enterprise resource planning system already in place, with the port community system, which we have internally developed, also in place. We'll be very soon on switching over to the enterprise business system also. So we are up with this system as it is. And in the end, I would like to say our focus as a service provider is to bring in systems which make the services easier to follow, reduce the complexity in the service, make it more simpler and easier for all to follow. That's in brief what we do. Owing to the paucity of time, I might take your leave, but thank you very much for that patient attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words, as well as enlightening us with what is happening with the port. Okay, now you will be felicitated with a memento. Okay, now I would like to invite Debrashi from EV5. I think you are into the EV logistics, especially the scooters and three-wheelers, and building a network of EV vehicles. Very interesting concept. This is something which we are actually looking forward to, maybe to leapfrog our technology. So over to you, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'll tell you briefly what we do. So we provide logistics services, rather green logistics services to all e-com giants. So we provide electric vehicles with riders. So for to clients like Big Basket, Swiggy, Ecom Express, Flipkart and the likes. So we have been listening about COVID, pre-COVID, right? So what has happened after COVID? A lot of us have started ordering food online. You know, all of us are using Amazon or Flipkart apps to order from a refrigerator to a small pen, correct? So what has happened? The pollution has gone up. So this was not there earlier, right? Earlier you wanted to go to, you know, the markets, buy fruits, vegetables, by touching it, feeling it, smelling it, right? But what has happened now? You're ordering it online. Everything is being ordered online. So that has really, you know, kicked off pollution. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to, you know, get down the tailpipe emissions. So we take care of the logistic solution. That is intracity deliveries. Tech plays a very important role here, because when you're scaling, when you have number of vehicles, you know, in the market, how do you control over that? So again, the convergence of you know, sustainable energies along with tech and different alternative fuels, you know, this is how it moves forward. As you mentioned very rightly, if the fossil fuel vehicles, you know, they go away, it's going to be a disaster. Absolutely right. We can't even depend on electric vehicles totally. But let's say it's a lesser devil at the moment, I would like to put it. Going a bit into more detail, the other alternative fuels like hydrogen fuel cells. How to do it? It's very expensive. You can't put it in a two-wheeler, but you can do it in a truck or maybe a car probably. So you cannot depend on one kind of clean mobility solution or one kind of clean fuel. You have to be dependent on multiple options. So there will be definitely hybrid cars that are there today where you're using fossil fuel and even electric, you know, to run a car. For example, Toyota Prius. But coming down the line, it will be more on the electric side and maybe a hydrogen fuel side as well, because there is something, no technology can be successful if it is, you know, expensive. It is if it cannot be scaled. So for that to happen, I think our government is, you know, taking care of it very, very well. Nitin Gadkarji mentioned one of his appearances in the public that technology has to be affordable. India is still developing. There is a large part of our community that is still they're looking for cheaper options even today. Even in all of us, you know, if we get discounts online, we don't need that stuff. We buy it, right? So this is what happens. This is a human mentality. So any kind of technology that is coming in the market, let's say electric vehicles for now, we should embrace it. Why? One, it is affordable, kind of affordable rather. Government is helping out a lot. But then if you see the number of vehicles, the purchases are increasing. There are certain challenges. Which technology or which industry doesn't have one? ICE vehicles or internal combustion engine vehicles, it took 100 years to perfect it. Electric vehicle has just been, you know, in the market right now. Give it some time. You know, be positive. There are different chemistries in a battery. Not everyone knows about it. So for a B2C purpose, for consumers, NMC battery, chemistry battery is all right. For B2B purposes like us, whereby vehicles run at least 100 kilometers in a day, a single vehicle for deliveries, we need LFP chemistry batteries, right? So there are n number of things that come into play. So I would always suggest technology is something that needs to be embraced, whether, you know, it's new, whether it's difficult to digest, or, you know, keep an open mind and just go with it. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that interesting intervention. And I was visiting Australia the last couple of weeks, and something of interest was for logistic purposes, they got the fleet of bicycles, especially in big cities like Sydney, Melbourne, even in Canberra. You know, what we see here, Ola and not Ola, Swiggy and all, in motorbikes. But there I could find fleets of bicycles, and most of them are powered by some kind of battery. And I think this is a kind of future, and this is something which, if he is also promoting, they're having a fleet of vehicles, EV vehicles for logistics purposes. Very interesting concept. I haven't seen that anywhere else. So that is very interesting. And now, I think from Cochin Metro, we got Gogol here, and I think he will enlighten us on the same topic. You know, we are leapfrogging technology and how KMR giving us an opportunity to make public transport which is a bit more fashionable, affordable, and efficient for the people.
Thank you, Father. Warm good afternoon to all of you. So I'll be rather speaking from my experience of putting in setting up of integrated mobility, at least for the metro, even if it is not for Kochi, because there are too many institutional silos and entrenched institutional practices that we have to navigate through right now. So what I would like to point out, one of the main roadblocks to this is the gap between macro policy and micro implementation. The policies are there. For example, you have a 2018 EV policy in Kerala, which was one of the first EV policies for the whole of the country. But EVs, as many of the panelists have mentioned, is a very rapidly transforming area. So in order to keep up with the necessities, the battery solutions and all, so the EV policies have been sort of, there is a lot of gap between actual implementation and thinking about and formulating policies. So after 2018, I have not seen any path-breaking updates for the EV policy. For example, if I could point out, KSEB recently came up with a fare revision for the EV charging in Kerala. Earlier, there were a fixed charge for 1 kilowatt was fixed charge for 74 rupees, and then every unit was, if it was an EV charging, it was charged at 5 rupees. Right now, what they've done after 2 years is that they've increased it to 5.5 rupees per unit, and while we were been asking, the industry has been asking them to sort of do away with the fixed price, which is actually against the national policy, EV policy, which says that there can't be double pricing, double power pricing. So they've actually increased it from 78 to 74 rupees to 90 rupees, and again on top of this they have introduced a limit for charging, the amount that you can charge for. So what you're doing is you're squeezing the whole thing from both sides, and which the policy doesn't actually reflect what the real intention would be. One of the problems that we in Kochi Metro, what we are facing is that we have to work with a lot of other institutions as well to integrate transport along with, because let's say Kochi Metro can't implement everything. You have to take up a lot of historical or a conventional existing operators into your fold rather than bringing up all new solutions. But institutional silos, for example, we have a KMTA, but the KMTA is solely under they don't have enough power actually. They're only a solution suggesting body, not an implementation, or those who can have the actual power to make that policy. So that gap is very prominent here, even though we have the first KMTA. So what we have is that you can have a lot of suggestions, but how do you put down at the last on the ground level is the question that we are all facing. So if we had a more powerful Metropolitan Transport Authority, a lot of headaches would go away, but it is not so. Another issue that we are facing is there is a lack of historical data for the travel, as Christy was mentioning. There were a 2015 study, then there is a 2019 study, but it all goes out of the window after the COVID, because your travel pattern has changed, your trip patterns have changed, your modal shift is completely different. So how do you make sense of what is you're going to plan in a pre-COVID world? So that is one huge problem that we are facing. How do you implement your project and back up with data that you can actually, actionable data which you can actually put in use on the ground? So that is there. So what we have tried to do is that to extrapolate data and have some kind of a grace thing to it, so as to say that this could be, we can never be sure. Another thing what we are trying to do is to develop through technological solutions, develop data when we are implementing new transport systems, like last phase, at least I would call it a last phase and a first phase connectivity. Last mile doesn't actually work in Kochi, so you need to have a last phase connectivity which might go over a few miles. But if you implement that, for example, if you are putting down an auto feeder system, you will need to equip it with a VLTD device, which is a vehicle location tracking device. Otherwise, you don't have any data as to how people are using this. So that would be one baseline data on which we could actually work on in the later stage. So, but right now there is no historical data. Any historical data right now available is not valid at all. So that is one huge challenge that we are facing. Another problem, many spoke about integrated mobility. One key problem that I would like to point out is with fare integration. Kochi do have a beacon protocol based Kochi Open Mobility Network, which is a great initiative, but then which makes many service discoverable, they can discover each other on that same platform. But the question what we would have to ask is, what is the mode of economic transaction? Right now we don't have a clear-cut fail-safe kind of a economic transaction platform. NSDL has come up with an e-commerce platform which they want to implement in mobility as well. It's in the mass scenario. But one of the key questions that happens is that you can plan for integrated transport like from door to door, but what if this trip breaks down at some point? So if you've paid it from point 1 to point, say from A to H, and it breaks down at D, so who returns the money to the other persons who have already for the services not availed? I have a motorcycle and then I take a feeder bus, I get into metro, and then I need an auto rickshaw to get down. But at the metro, maybe something happens, or before metro something happens, I'm not able to make that journey, or that service is not available at that point. So the trip is not complete. So if the trip is not complete, who pays for the money? How does it come back to a service that you have not availed? So it's a very critical element that we all have to discuss. Right now there is no solution for it. So before we say fare integration, this is the point that we have to deal with. So I think technology is the real solution provider here, but right now we don't see anything which is very concrete and fail-safe. One of the last things that I would like to say is that, look, sustainable mobility projects are never going to be, you cannot, basically it won't be economical, or you can't make a sort of a, profit from that. So from a project planning perspective, it is very important that we understand how sustainability end result, which is quite non-tangible, and you cannot put a finger on it saying that this is the amount that I'm working. We need to adopt international auditing and financial practices and tools which actually converts sustainable practices into tangible economic gains. So that has to be a regular, it has to be incorporated into project planning. Otherwise, you can, no project is going to make any sense financially. So that is one, because any sustainable project comes with a huge price, because it's already developing. Even EVV is not completely developed, and with the battery prices, it's still not economic. So these are the questions that I would like to bring forth, and maybe have a discussion on this.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting, very extensive, and also we all agree with the post-COVID scenario. I think the data before that is obsolete, and we all agree. We also face the same with our data analytical project with the Kochi Metro, the same problem. And also I think the beacon protocol, that is a very good alternative. I think Axis Bank should have a look at it, because this is something which we are also trying to do. That means adopt beacon protocol for the transactions, and on the top of that maybe some kind of blockchain technology, and that may further lead to some kind of digital currency or cryptocurrency usage in the transaction. So this is something which we are actually, that could be the roadmap. Okay. And again, one last point, I would like to see Cochin Metro using renewable energy. I don't know, because CL could do it, maybe Cochin Metro also could do it. Okay, with these words, I am giving this to Professor Ashish Verma just to sum it up, all the discussions.
It's a big task to sum up. Thank you, Father. Just to reflect on the last point that you mentioned, and I fully agree. Public transport entities should not be looked at from the point of view of profit-making corporate entities. So their impact should be looked from a larger social welfare that they basically generate because of being a public transport and what it achieves on several dimensions of social welfare. So quantifying social welfare, how much a public transport undertaking is generating, is probably a better way to understand their profitability rather than just the financial profitability. And yes, in the new normal, I think all master plans need to be relooked at with new data set rather than depending upon the data that was collected. Now, to try to sum up, this whole summit was about future, the next generation, transport. And I would say, and we all deliberated, the future of transport has to be clean, it has to be sustainable, and it has to be energy efficient. We have seen the example of Sri Lanka, how fossil fuel dependency can cripple the whole country and economy, and also this whole Ukraine crisis and the energy and fuel crisis that is created in across the world, and especially in European countries. It's all reflective of the point that we have to keep reducing our dependency on fossil fuel. So now you have to think, if you have to think about this future of transport, I always say on many platforms that we should look back to the past of our cities 30 years before, say, in 70s or 80s, how our cities were. A lot more people used to cycle, a lot more people used to walk. Our cities were much more compact, they were much more sustainable. So if I have to think about the future of transport, we should really bring back this past of our cities of 70s and 80s. Of course, the difference this time would be that you have technology, you have those advances to back it. But I think that's where the future of our cities lies, is to bring back the past. Even in case of Bangalore, which always used to be called as pensioner paradise, because the city was compact, the weather was fantastic, people could walk to most of the places, it was much more green and so on. And when people say what should be the future of Bangalore, I just say bring back the Bangalore of 70s. So that's one thing. Now, when we think about decarbonization, which is what the focus in the context of EV ecosystem also, decarbonization cannot happen in isolation without or neglecting the core transportation issues. As in the previous session, the speaker Christy Ann from GIZ, she was also mentioning that you may do a magic, abracadabra, and all vehicles turn to electric. While this may solve some emission problem, but the traffic congestion issues will remain. Travel time delays will remain. So while we think about decarbonization plans, we also have to keep the focus on the core transportation issues. So it has to be a win-win situation. So just converting vehicles into electric will not be the best strategy and will not work holistically. And when we talk about EV ecosystem, we forget that metro rail systems or metro light or metro neo, these categories are also part of electric mobility ecosystem. Yeah, they are electric mobility options, but we completely miss out thinking about it, how and to what extent they should contribute in this whole electric mobility ecosystem. Now recently, Niti Aayog is trying to come up with an index. It would be called as India Electric Mobility Index, and they are working on it. We recently had a stakeholder consultation in Bangalore on that, and I was also attending it, where they would rank states based on this electric mobility index of how electric mobility has been adopted. And I actually emphasize this point, that when you rank it, do you consider metro rail and electric buses also as part of that electric mobility ecosystem? Do you rank cities which have done more on these aspects as compared to, say, converting personal vehicles into electric? That's something that we have to keep in mind. We did an interesting project because there is a lot of discussion about grid impact. Tomorrow, if all vehicles are there, then the cities will go in dark. So we need to assess the grid impact also when we think about scaling up. So we did a project for whole BMR, created a dashboard, a optimization based model in the background, where one can see the optimum number and location of charging points for different scenarios, fast charger, slow charger, or a combination of that, where and how to place them based on several factors: travel behavior, choices of people, the grid capacity and impact on grid capacity. So we could also actually assess through that how much would be the load on grid due to certain number and location of these EV charging point. This kind of decision support framework, a scientific decision support framework would be useful for cities to assess how much you can depend on grid, how much you need to go on solar, or of course at the end you have to really go towards renewable. But it's an interesting way to understand, because there is a equity aspect also. Today we are finding it difficult to even give electricity in houses in poor people. Yeah, and this conclude. But we would like to give electricity to rich people to charge their car. Yeah, so there is a equity angle also. Just few points to sum up on the public transport. In the morning, inaugural session, there were a lot of examples about Istanbul. Honorable MP talked about Norway, European countries, about how well they have integrated, ticketing, etc. What we forget is, in each of these cities, you would see that all different modes of public transport are operated by a single operator, a single agency. Nowhere in India we are thinking about it. If you have each public transport mode being operated by a different operator, you will never going to achieve even integration among these operators. And you, as you rightly said, the KMTA here or DLT is a similar example in Karnataka, where because of the lack of powers they are not able to do the function of integration. But even within that, we need a single operator to run different public transport modes within a city. That's how you will achieve that seamless system. Especially on the MRTS network, metro rail systems, the extent of network has an important role. Since we took the example of Norway, I have been to Oslo. It's a city where a part of the city is in valley, and a lot of residences are towards the hills, around in that whole area. And the metro actually literally climbs up in each direction onto covering each of these residential areas. You can literally reach any house or any location within walking distance of metro. So the extent of network has an important role in how much people will use it and adopt it. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with this, we are winding up this panel discussion. Thank you for all the panelists, and we will take something good out of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, respected moderator and panelists. Now, I call upon Biswajit Sahu from Medalytics for the felicitation. First up, I call upon Sri Devrishi to receive your memento. Next, I call upon Mr. Gokul, Senior DGM of Urban Transportation, KMRL.
Yeah, thank you all. Now we invite Axis Bank team to quickly run through the presentation. Next, we will have a online participation from other speakers and as well as from the moderation from our end. Then we'll break for the lunch. Now I invite Mr. Saurabh Agarwal from Axis Bank to run through the presentation.
Respected dignitaries, respected speakers, and my dear friends and colleagues, I'll take you through to Kochi One card, and probably the Honorable MP was talking about his experience in Istanbul, where he was able to use one card for all his needs, maybe using that card in metro, buses, shopping. And this is something which Professor Burma is also was talking about, a single, where media, where people can use that card. That is reality that was launched in association with KMRL and Axis Bank way back in 2017 in India. If you can see, this was a co-branded card with Kochi Metro. These cards are available in all the metro stations. There is a dedicated mobile app for metro and water metro QR based. So it does not mean if you're not do not want to use the card, if you do not have the card, does not mean that you cannot be part of the digital revolution. You can download Kochi mobile app. By using that app, you can book QR ticket using any kind of mode of payment, be it credit card, normal debit cards, or UPI. Probably by this card, this looks to be the first integrated transport system in India and second in the world. If you look at after London, because this card, what we are trying to do, this card can be used in buses, this card can be used in autos, this card can be used any kind of online transaction, this card can be used in any restaurant, and probably this was the first open loop transit card based on NCMC specification, that was version 1. So we just tried to cover the journey of a Kochiite by using this card. So let's say somebody is there at home, right, and they are having this card. They can use this card at the auto. This is under development. They can use this card at auto, reach to the metro station, tap this card at metro gate, take the ride, reach to office. During lunch, they go to any of the restaurant using Kochi One card and enjoys discounts on our Easy Diner and Dining Delight platform, maybe 15 to 20%. And though remember, they have got discount at metro ride also 20%. So 20% discount while you are traveling, 15 to 20% discount while you are eating during your lunch. Then evening, when you want to go back to home, you reach to the nearest bus stop, you use that card at buses. Currently, roughly around 100 odd buses are operating in Kochi. They are accepting our card. We'll take it to, with the help of Kochi Metro team, KMRL team, we'll take it to these number to 500, and we want to cover almost 100% of the buses of Kochi. While using this card in Kochi buses, you again get a discount of 5%. So discounts all the way from your home to, and while going back, you went through Lulu Mall and you saw some sale is happening, or you want to buy something for your family or for yourself, you get discount there too. Isn't this a win-win situation for everyone? And these cards are very easy to get. You just need to go to any metro station, just need to give your proof of address and ID, and just fill a small application form and you will get card easily. The loading on the card is also very easy. Either you can use this card at the metro station, giving your credit card, debit card, you can top it from there using UPI. Even if you are not at a metro station, you can top this card sitting at home using Kochi mobile app. Maybe you are not using a smartphone that time, you can use our dedicated web portal also to load the card to see the statement. Probably one of the biggest feature which we were talking about, and we are the pioneer of that, I would say, our Kochi mobile app that has got the SOS feature also, which is none of the other transit operators apps are having. So somebody is distressed, they can call up their near and dear ones, where the message will reach out to them and they can connect. Now I'll talk more about the features of the card. Direct access to Kochi Metro, get 20% discount. With full KYC limit, you get loading of 1 lakh. So which, if you see that Honorable MP was talking about, can we book IRCTC ticket using the card? Yes, you can book IRCTC ticket using this card. You can buy Amazon, buy anything from Amazon or Flipkart or any online portal to anything using this card. And just to give you one more reason to celebrate again this card. Uh, the moment you pay your bills or recharge your mobile phone using this card, you get 50 rupees cashback every month, which means around 600 rupees in a year. You see that all the RuPay enabled cards. So the moment you see any offer which is coming on RuPay, that is also there on card. And somebody use a frequent flyer. So let's say if you're traveling in Delhi and Kochi, you're taking the metro, you have complimentary lounge access as various airports too. So now just look at all these features: direct access to Kochi Metro, INR 1 lakh full KYC limit, 20% off on your metro ride, 5% off on your bus fare, 33% on metro passes, 2 airport lounges, which is worth around 1500 rupees per visit, so roughly around 3000 rupees per quarter. And plus we have launched many offers using Easy Diner and Dining Delights, where you can get 15 to 20% discounts in various restaurants. Not only discounts at metro or discounts at the restaurants, you can use this card at various outlets and get discounts up to 15%. And while designing this card for Cochin, the marketing team has worked very hard with the feedback from the local team. We have tied up with the small eateries, some local eateries of Cochin also, so that people, they need not to go to always a Radisson or Trident for that. They can try some biryani at Tambi or Iftar and local restaurants too. So these are some of the features which I'll talk about. Kochi One app. Kochi One app is been very evolved app. You can do the journey planner, you can book your tickets, you can cancel your ticket, you can get instant refund also, you can track live ticket status also, you can see timetable of buses, you can see map also, you got last mile connectivity, you got offers and events which is happening. Let's say if ISL is happening, you can get something about that offer or that events also. You'll get online and offline shopping, any kind of offers. You can just log into the Kochi One mobile app, you can see what is happening. You can see your card statement then and there. Just need to click on the details, the time frame which you want your card transaction. Those details are very much there. You got your KYC detail, you got tourist information, everything. And this is not something we are stopping here. This app is at its evolving stage, right? Maybe 1 year down the line, once we meet next time in Summit, I'll be talking about more features on the app side. So this was from Kochi One card and Kochi Metro app. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we'll be having a hybrid session, which is of both online and offline. For this, I call upon Ms. Sarika Chakravarti, Senior Sector Coordinator of NIUA, which is an online. Next, Shri Devrishi, EV5, EV Starter, and Ms. Saranyan, Senior Growth Manager, MOEV, Guragan, that is also online. Also, we'll have a presentation by Sarjan Raj TD from RSET on the topic JPDAP, a data analytics platform for seamless and effective transport management, and also a presentation by Binu Ayyappan from RSET on the topic device and data-driven urban mobility technologies. I request everyone to kindly join us on stage. I humbly welcome Ms. Sarika Chakravarti, Senior Sector Coordinator, NIUA. Ma'am, the stage is yours.
Hello, it's visible, ma'am.
needs to be given to this. Just because we are now decarbonizing transport, and we do see that the carbon emissions will come down significantly because we're switching to the alternate, electricity fuel. But in the long run, I suspect we could be heading for a bigger menace, because the battery waste is very toxic in nature, and we all know how we are faring with our domestic waste. So we actually need to start putting up this system in place. Globally, I believe that there's only 5% capacity to actually recycle, dismantle and dispose of this lithium-ion batteries safely. So something that all our policymakers, infrastructure providers need to start thinking about. And of course, incentivizing the use of electric vehicles. So presently, the capital cost of electric vehicles is much higher than the regular fossil fuel vehicles. And of course, in the long run it will become, more economically or cost effective to use an electric vehicle. But that upfront capital cost, higher investment is something which is dissuading the people, the common users, the end users, to actually buying the electric vehicles. Something that we need to think about. And we also need continued support in form of research and development of other emerging non-fossil fuel options, like hydrogen is something that is being talked about. Having said that, fuel transitions is not the only way wherein we can decarbonize, the transport sector. There are these conventional methods which have been talked about before, so I'm going to not deliberate upon them for a very long time. But these, if we would have, I'm sorry to say, but if we would have put them in place 10, 20 years back, perhaps we would not be having this serious conversation about climate change and decarbonizing transport as we are having today. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to improve the efficiency of our transport system as a whole. The first point under that would be improving the quality of public transport. See, public transport has a set of captive users, people who cannot afford private vehicles. So those are the, like I said, they are the captive users. Because they don't have a choice, they will continue to, travel in public transport. The main area over here is to enable the modal shift so that the car users actually begin to use public transport. Because for the car users, comfort takes precedence over affordability. So until and unless our public transport has the kind of outreach, provides the kind of time efficiency and the comfort, primarily the comfort that a private vehicle offers, that switch from cars or private vehicles to public transport may not necessarily take place. Second is the use of ITS. There's been talk of unified ticketing, not going to deliberate upon that. Just a point to add that in addition to unified ticketing, if we could subsidize the onward trips by shared or public transport modes. For instance, if someone is traveling from point A to B and then B to C, and from point A to B, that gentleman or lady takes a metro, and then from point B to C continues to travel in a shared or a public transport mode, the fare of the mode that they use from traveling from point B to C should get subsidized. It's kind of a reward for taking an onward journey by public or shared mode of transport. That is something that can be considered. Institutional integration has been talked about. We heard about Kochi Metro, Kochi already having a metropolitan transport authority. Chennai has also come up with that. I think there are more than 15 cities and states in India who are actually looking at forming UMTAs of certain type at a state level or even at city levels. The point is that these UMTAs will not really gain strength unless you financially capacitate them, unless the flow of funds is through these UMTAs for the transport infrastructure, or transport planning. So that is one way wherein the UMTA just doesn't remain an authority, not just an executive body, but actually gains some muscle and is able to push the sustainable mobility agenda. The next point is enabling modal shift in favor of shared modes. I'm using the word shared modes because it's not just the public transport, but it's also the para-transit, intermediate this IPTs as we call them. So for this, spatially, the first thing that we should do is we have to integrate land use and transport. That, as you all must be knowing, is through transit-oriented development. We do have a national TOT policy. Some states, some cities have adopted that policy and come up and notified their own policies. So by virtue of which the densities around the transit nodes are going to increase. It's going to bring people closer to the public transport. It's going to increase the ridership of the public transport. There is data and research paper which says that 45%, just a second, let me see. Yeah, that households in transit-oriented development travel 45% less than residents of automobile-dependent neighborhoods, because transit-oriented development also has mixed-use development. So whatever they need is actually in a very close distance to their residences. The need for travel is reduced, and if ever the need of travel does arise, then they have the public transport at very walkable distance, and they can use that for traveling. So transit-oriented development is the way to go forward. However, in our Indian cities, we don't have transit-oriented development, we have development-oriented transit. So what happens is that we already have a city with very high densities, with these, central business districts established. And we have superimposed our transport networks, our mobility networks, our metro networks on top of the city, on a city which is already thriving and already developed. So it works vice versa. So we have development-oriented transit. Our alignments are planned to join the areas which have high densities. So then how to add the element of POD-ness in this? For this, we will, your transit-oriented development actually becomes a type of a regeneration. So the regeneration, we have to see that how this private sector-led regeneration can be enabled in our cities. We also, like I said before, we have to improve public transport and shared modes, and most importantly, we have to develop an integrated multimodal transport system. We have to give that seamless travel experience to our commuters, and one way of enabling this is also the institutional integration, which I talked about before. We also have to disincentivize private transport. There are global examples like in Singapore, London, they have congestion pricing. In Singapore, you have to actually buy a...
Madam Sarika?
Yes?
Yeah, can we quickly finish, because there are other speakers also lined up and we are yet to break for the lunch.
Yeah, sure. So, disincentivizing private transport. The next point is optimizing parking supply. Parking supply is also another way wherein you can enable modal shift, regulate your parking supply, enforce your parking norms, and thereby you can enable the modal shift. Enhancing facilities for walking and cycling. I believe there is a speaker who's going to speak on that. So a lot of focus on active travel should be given, particularly in areas around the transit systems, to improve the first and the last mile connectivity. Freight is another important aspect where we need to talk about the greening strategies for freight and logistics. And this could be done by dedicated freight corridors, water-based transport. So the path to achieving climate goals, I would say, would be through smart planning. Let's go back to the drawing boards and talk about those basic principles of transport and implement them. Harmonize sustainable development with low transport actions. Adopt sustainable, inclusive and integrated transport planning solutions. We also need to have dynamic policies, plans and technology. All these, because the changes in transport domain are very, very dynamic. So to keep up with them, we have to have policies and plans that are constantly being updated to respond to these changes and innovations. Data-driven integrated planning is something that is very important to promote low-carbon mobility and consider the need of all user groups to make our transport ecosystem truly inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Sarika. Now I invite Assistant Professor Vinu Ayappan for his presentation on device and data-driven urban mobility technologies. Over to you, Vinu.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I won't be taking too much time.
So it should be, I mean, we are expecting it as a continuous, I mean, two continuous sessions. Session 1 has to be handled by surgeon, and second session should be done by device. I mean, this one after the previous session. So it is going to be a continuous one, but sorry for that one. So initially I will be discussing about the device and data driven urban mobility technologies. So what we are planning, that is our objective, is something like already we have something like a platform developed for Kochi Metro JPDAP analytics platform. That platform considered to be one of the platform which can accumulate or get the data information, or the especially something like automated fare collection information from the Kochi Metro, and that will be analyzed and passenger pattern can be predicted or identified. And immediately after that, that will be useful for trip plan and all other things related to the Kochi Metro day-to-day operations. Next slide. Next slide. So when we start off, Professor Ashish Verma has mentioned about mobility as a service. We have heard about infrastructure as a service, cloud as a service, and platform as a service, etc. But mobility as a service, what is the key point here in mobility as a service? So when you consider a city as a whole, the transportation in a particular city is not operated by a single vendor. It is going to be multi-vendor operational, I mean, a kind of transportation system in most of the cities. So we are expecting something like different vendors are operating on that particular domain, and we are expecting the data from all these different operators. Maybe the multimodal transportation scheme, we are expecting metro transportation, we are expecting bus transportation, and similar type of transportation we are expecting, and we have to ensure that all this data being accumulated, and that has to be processed for next level trip planning, etc. So in that sense, mobility as a service is very important for, especially for smart cities, and that will improve the overall transportation system. It will improve the or reduce the carbon emission. All these things will occur due to that particular idea, which is known as mobility as a service. So what is our role? That is from Rajagiri perspective, what is our role in mobility as a transportation? That is different vendors are there, and vendors means there are huge, big vendors, small vendors, big scale vendors, and small scale vendors. How they can accommodate this type of solutions for their day-to-day activities. So that's why we are looking into that particular part. That is, we are proposing something like device-driven approaches. That device can be used by the so-called vendors, and that can be used within their particular operations, and that will be useful for planning the entire city travel map or transportation scenario. So this one already mentioned by Professor Ashish Verma. And our approach, that is, we are looking for a device and data driven approach for mobility technologies, and it is a amalgamation of IoT, AI and data analytics, cloud computing, robotics, and surveillance and security, and one more thing, safety is also part of this particular solution. So RSET, right now you might have noticed Behra sir has released the second phase of the project, and we are working on these particular technologies, especially for these device driven technologies, particularly for KMRL, Kochi Metro. And the first one is actually something related to video analytic module for video feed from CCTV cameras. And you will be wondering that such kind of solutions are available from different multinational vendors, but why we are looking for this type of vendors? So the point is that the almost all cameras that is available in the market is based on a pre-programmed kind of analytical system that is always it is taking the data based on the previous history. But the approach we are trying to have is something like it could be learned, that is, our system will learn, and whenever it is possible, the firmware of that particular application or the camera will be updated at regular intervals. Depending on the context of the city, the pattern may be, or the entire pattern may different. So that has to be addressed. That is the idea why we are following this approach, video analytics module, for the especially for metro stations. So in addition to that, we are looking for indigenous processor that is developed by CDAC. We are trying to integrate that one, and also one proposal is there to integrate FPGA dedicated only for the a particular CCTV analytics. And we have submitted a project in association with KMRL and CSML, Kochi Smart Mission Limited, to DST for approving a project something like RSET processor designed for CCTV support services. Then second one, which is under this category, is actually IoT sensor enabled monitoring system for the entire metro pier cap and viaducts. And recently Kochi metro faced that issue, like one infrastructure related issue, and to address that one, that is coming under the predictive analysis and predictive maintenance, and for that we are working on that particular one, IoT driven system to infrastructure analysis, especially civil structures. And the third one, even though it is not a device driven, but at the same time it could be something like a device driven, something like we are working on that one, how effectively we can profile the passenger details, or how we can get the feedback from the passenger. All those things we need to have some kind of device, and that device has to be formulated, and for that is actually coming under the automated advertising bidding software for metro station. Especially after taking the feedback from the end users, we have to ensure that what type of users are using that metro at a particular time, so that we can have a variable kind of advertisement scheme. Then forecasting based on external parameters like events and other influencing factors, especially in Kerala, some factors are there that has to be addressed. Then yellow line intrusion detection system, that is very important for our context, because most of the metros are running with electric lines, and that is actually safety part, and how to monitor this yellow line crossing, and that has to be controlled. Right now we are using manual system, so we have to make use of that system. Also we are working on that one. And the so-called multimodal transport analysis, right now Kochi metro is actually using only metro rail system, but by 2023 we are expecting water metro and similar supporting services. So how to effectively make use of this technology effectively, we need to have multimodal technology, and we are working on all that particular part too. So that is all from my side. That is the device, and the important point is that it is all related to the device, and how effectively we can make use of the device which is capable to or cater to all the services. And any service vendor, that is, it is not restricted to KMRL alone, any service vendor, they can make use of that vendor with slight modification, and that can make use that particular system for their day-to-day operations, and that will give us the umbrella term which is known as mobility as a service. Thank you very much.
So we are almost starving for the lunch, but I think Mr. Devresi, you have any quick thoughts to wrap it up from your end? So you are allotted only one. Sorry?
Mobility as a service, well, definitely it is the way to go. I'll talk on the transportation side because I come from that background, right? So my family has been in transportation since 1960s, so somewhere I do understand the pollution part that comes into play, the kind of people you are, they are into it. Like in the last presentation, Sarika mentioned 90% of the pollution is through road transportation. So I understand that. Technology, end of the day, is something that makes your life easier, makes your life simple, and that is again one of the ways. Well, whether it is multimodal transportation, whether it is adoption of new technology in terms of electric vehicle or vehicle run by hydrofuel cells, well, it all goes hand in hand. I totally agree with that. And something very important I feel we all are missing here is the not just the acceptance of it, but also a lot of research that is still needed in terms of making these more affordable and taking it to the last mile, taking it to tier 3, tier 4 cities as well. Just a small example on that, again taking transportation and batteries into consideration. Few years ago, let's say about 10-15 years ago, 1 kilowatt of battery was producing about, let's say, 10 or 15 kilometers. But today 2 kilowatt of batteries, or the same 1 kilowatt of battery, is producing more than 40 kilometers. So when we're talking about there is going to be load on the grid because there's a lot of electric vehicles on road, just imagine the same 1 kilowatt battery is producing 100 kilometers, maybe 150 kilometers. So somewhere or the other we won't have to be reliant too much on the grid because the same kilowatt of batteries producing more kilometers again. That makes life easier for everyone, and the operations get cheaper as well. So which is very important for any country's economy. That is what I would like to mention. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Devrishi. I think we have the online participation from Mr. Saranayan, but I think we are running out of time and running out of schedule. So we have to wrap the session and wrap the summit here. So I thank on behalf of Medalytics Digital Convergence and the summit organizers and everyone who have joined as participants, who have deliberated here, who have enlightened us through their knowledge, through their practices, through their innovations, and it's a great way to start from this note that we have the understanding of all the sectors, all the mobility sectors, and all the innovations and all the practices that is going on and the research that is going on, because we have all the participation from and mentorship from RSET, and also we have the academic development and the research development that is going on in RSET and other areas as well, and also the practices that is happening in the EV sector and also in the maritime sector and also in the transportation sector in general. And I'm very grateful to Father Jason Paul Mullerical, the Vice Principal of RSET, for being the mentor and the host of this facilities. And I'm also very thankful to the Axis Bank team, and particularly Mr. Prashant Sinha and his team, and Mr. Sachin and his team, for supporting us through a quick notice, and also the other speakers and delegates who have joined on behalf of KMRL, Cochin Shipyard, and Cochin Smart City and Cochin Port. So we are looking forward for more such summits and more such events where you want all the stakeholders to join in hand and also brainstorm and also gain some knowledge and take it further for the practices and further innovations. Medalytics Digital Convergence, though it is a new startup and new startup on governance technology solutions, we will be happy to host you, happy to have you, and happy to organize you something you want, some customized and curated programs in future. Thank you all for the patience, the long patience, and I'm extremely sorry for the delay since it's in the morning, and the launch is outing outside. So please join us for the lunch. Thank you. Yeah. Please be seated. I think some of the mementos are to be delivered. We can have a group photo before the lunch also.
For the felicitation, I call upon Mr. Biswajit. I would like to invite Mr. Binu Ayappan from RSET and Sergeant Raj TD from RSET. Now I call upon Sergeant Raj TD from RSET. Next, I humbly call upon Shri Devrishi from EV5. Also, I would like to call upon Praveen Jacob from Cochin Shipyard to receive your memento. Once again, I call upon Praveen Jacob from Cochin Shipyard. Mr. Praveen Jacob from Cochin Shipyard. On behalf of Mr. Praveen Jacob, we have another representative from Cochin Shipyard.
one more felicitation. We are actually giving 3 mementos to the organizers, and I would like to invite Father Jason to hand over. So first, Vishwajit. Sunil Joshi, Sunil Behra. And Pratibha ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. Lunch is arranged at refectory, KE block. Volunteers will guide you.